Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. Really don't know what I'm looking for, just want to share, I guess. Advice. I will try and keep a fairly long story brief. Let me first say we are currently trying reconciliation, but I'm kind of floundering. I should also note this is the truth as I know it, not necessarily the whole truth. I, 40 meters, found out a few months ago my wife, 39F, of 13 years had been cheating on me the prior few months. She was texting a close friend of mine and flirting with him both through text and in person, which led to her sending bikini pics and eventually topless photos. She ended that but moved on to another person in her orbit that I didn't personally know. Pics were exchanged and it climaxed with a make-out session between the two of them. She ended it after that. After finding out part of this, I confronted her and told her if we were going to reconcile she needed to come out with the entire story with everything that has ever been an issue. That is where I got all the details above, and she also admitted to sleeping with someone about a year after we first got married. One night stand. She swears up and down this is all that has happened. Here's my problem: while yes, I'm super upset and hurt, and I get really angry when I think about our two awesome children being conceived after she slept with another guy, I don't feel totally emotionally crushed. Honestly, it just feels like my ego is bruised more than anything. I've read a lot of stories on here and other subs, and this feels so devastating to people. Am I just in the early stages of grief? I'm concerned I never really loved her that much in the first place because I don't feel fully destroyed. I'm trying to figure out what to do. She seems genuinely remorseful, but reading/listen after infidelity, I just have zero hope this will ever work. I'm in therapy for other issues, but now we talk about this as well. I just feel very blah. I want to move on, but I don't want to deal with the hassle of divorce and separating money and hurting my children. Also, quite frankly, she is substantially more conventionally attractive than I am, and I'm afraid of being rejected by other women in the dating world and being alone in my later years. I'm not blameless here. I haven't always been the best communicator as a husband and have rug swept a lot of issues and feelings the past 20 years without being open and honest about my feelings. Is texting like that legit cheating? Since the actual sex happened so long ago, should I just ignore that part? Happy to get into more details in the comments. That's 3 affairs you've mentioned, and obviously the only ones she's going to admit to. That's a serial cheater. It probably didn't end there. And married adults don't have make-out sessions. If she went through the trouble to meet someone, she had sex with them, so she's still lying to you. So even just what she admitted, she's cheated 25% of your marriage. And started very early, so it's highly doubtful she quit. One-night stands are a sign she's someone who cheats just for physical pleasure, so there's probably a pattern there you just missed over the years because you weren't all that invested. You've probably got about 10% of the story right now. 3 affairs in just 13 years is a lot. And these were, according to her, purely physical for the hell of it affairs. There's probably a lot more you don't know. She's a serial cheater, and that's no kind of life for the children to be around. You're still reasonably young enough to start over if it goes that route. I understand waiting and seeing for a little bit, but I'd start to emotionally prepare myself for an end. Which means a new start with someone who's more honest and faithful and who will be a better influence on the kids. She swears up and down this is all that has happened. One-night stands. Texting pictures of her boobs. Cheating just a year into a marriage. That's all she's going to admit to, but that's probably not all that happened. Don't misunderstand me, I'm certain this isn't the full story. That's why I qualified it with the truth as I know it. I feel like she told me enough to make it look like a full confession, but not everything, because she calculates if I knew the full truth I'd leave immediately. I've told her as much. I guess I just don't know what to do. This definitely feels like something I could live and reconcile with, but I'm afraid that means that the marriage is over for me mentally, and that's why I feel that way. Like I either never truly loved her or I don't love her fully now. One of your main problems is that you and your wife have very different mindsets. You want to stay with her to not hurt the children while she cheated on you in various ways, and yes, this is cheating, and didn't care how that might affect the children. You and the kids were on her mind as well when she started her affairs, but she made a decision that this wasn't enough to stop her from having affairs. The affairs and ONS were more important to her. First of all, you should cut this close friend of yours out of both your lives, and she needs to do the same with the other guy as well. To be honest, in my opinion you need to make only one decision, because I don't believe that she is remorseful for what she did. She only regrets that she got caught. Your decision to make is to either go through the hassle of divorce and protect yourself from the same happening to you again, or to stay with her and accept that she is the way she is and that she will do the same again. By the way, she didn't only make out with the other guy, they had sex, and she is downplaying it to not make it worse. Kids kiss, adults have sex. Close friend has been cut out as much as I can given our situation. And yes, there is no question that without me catching her and her seeing my reaction, she never would have even thought what she was doing was wrong, and has even admitted she thought what she was doing, recently, was a harmless, victimless crime. Not only that, she also never planned to end it, wanted to keep on doing that, and only did end it because you caught her. Wonder how she would feel, and if she would still think that it is a harmless and victimless crime if you would have done the same and she would have caught you. So, ironically, she even stated had the roles been reversed she didn't know if she could handle it and would probably not seek reconciliation. This maybe hurt me more than anything, as she was begging for forgiveness and saying she'd do anything to keep the relationship. She dropped that bomb. I'm very aware how on the whole all these signs point to bad news. It's just difficult for me to emotionally figure it all out. My advice for you would be to take your time and not rush to any decision. Separate from her as much as possible and take time to yourself to process what she did and what that means for you and your marriage on your own. In my opinion, you need to give yourself the chance to leave this marriage, and also start doing that so that you give yourself the chance to find reasons for why you should stay. She needs this chance as well, needs to realize that she is losing you right now, to make a decision to either let you go or to make a decision to fight for you. Yes, she has to fight for you and not the other way around. You need to begin to walk away from her and not towards her. Because where she is a place where she enjoys having affairs aside from her marriage. Instead, you need to walk away from her, and if she wants to stay with you, then she needs to run after you and get to a place where affairs are a reason to end the marriage. Her reaction to how she would react if the roles were reversed makes it clear that she knew all the time what she was doing there, and that she never thought of what she did as a harmless and victimless crime. She knew fully well what she did and what might happen if you find out. She just didn't care. The affairs were more important to her. I appreciate all your thoughtful responses. Very helpful. I'm trying to follow this exact model right now. Reading this sub and /SN after infidelity had me really bummed and stressed out and rethinking what I wanted to do. I think they've been helpful in seeing what's really happening, but it is super depressing. Thanks again. Her reaction to how she would react if the roles were reversed makes it clear that she knew all the time what she was doing there, and that she never thought of what she did as a harmless and victimless crime. She knew fully well what she did and what might happen if you find out. She just didn't care. The affairs were more important to her. Agree with this. I asked my cheater the same thing, and this is how he responded. It's cruel and heartless. Cheaters know what they are doing and choose to do it anyway. Love yourself more. Found out my wife ducked a guy less than a year after we were married, because after 13 years and 2 kids she did it again, and I'm staying because I'm a responsible ducking moron. My whole life has been in service to others and doing the right thing. I've passed up jobs I've wanted, turned down flirting opportunities with other women, never spoken up about petty parts of my marriage. I'm unhappy about keeping the peace. Even in my job I make everyone else's life easier in service to the greater good. I never get selfish in my personal or professional life, all trying to get to this end game of a good life where shit goes well for me and now this. And I can't leave because I'm a ducking idiot and I want to take care of my kids, and the way I'm wired I can realistically suck it up and deal with the cheating. When in the duck, is it going to be my turn to be an irresponsible dick and not pay attention to others' feelings and just assume they'll pick up the pieces? When do I get to have fun and disregard others for my own selfish desires? I feel ugly, unwanted, and most of all I just have no respect for myself, but I know I'll stay like an asshole because my personality will make it agreeable and make the kids happy. Duck everything, I just want to feel attentive and loved. Sorry, I know there's like 30 of these posts a day on this sub and this isn't interesting. I'm just angry and sad and I wanted to type it out. Edit. And another thing, when she gets upset about how bad she's hurt me and I can tell she genuinely feels bad about her actions and is broken up, I feel bad for her and try to comfort her, like genuinely feel terrible she feels that way, and I want to make her feel better immediately. What the duck? You think there haven't been women I've wanted to duck over the years? Of course there have. I'm a ducking living human being, but you don't. It's called being a responsible adult and respecting others' feelings. She just wants the ducking milk without buying the damn cow or doing any of the work. Staying in an unhappy marriage will really only hurt your kids. Good luck with everything, but know that you deserve to be happy. The reality is I'm not necessarily unhappy and I know she's not either. I'm just mad my personality lends itself to being the type to stay. This post isn't bitching about my wife or marriage. It's more how I hate myself for really being able to maturely deal with it all. I want to be a petulant brat about it. I think you just know in the back of your mind that you've got no backbone and your wife is going to walk all over you like she already has. She's going to do it again and again. Tell her to make it up to you, you get to duck another woman in front of her. Then, if she by some miracle agrees, do it, then leave her. If she doesn't agree, leave her anyway. Duck that shit. The responsible thing to do is to show your children that it's unacceptable to act that way in a relationship, by leaving her. Don't let your children grow up thinking they should stay in a bad relationship. I don't think the lesson will come across to early elementary school children. They'll just hate me for breaking up the family. Honestly, one of the biggest issues I have with my mother, who I have not seen/talked to in 3 years, is that she didn't leave my dad when I was younger. My dad was a drunk who cheated on my mom and abused her, and she just allowed it. All for the sake of the kids. Well, guess what? My dad treated us bad too. On for my mother, she in all of her misery became a bitter and neglectful parent. On top of the abuse and neglect, I got the bonus of not knowing how a normal healthy relationship works. I'm now in my 30s and have struggled for years to overcome my childhood. Your kids will not understand because of their age, and that is okay. It is not about them liking you, it's about you doing the right thing for yourself and standing up to people who treat you like a doormat. Which is what your wife is doing. Show your kids what a relationship is supposed to look like. Be a good parent, don't fail them. I'm so sorry. My ex-wife was the same way. She wanted a stay-at-home dad to take care of her kids and she wanted the party cocks. Of course I found out and made my escape plan. I played her game for a while. I saved money and in the end I was gone. I felt sorry for the stepkids, but it wasn't my obligation. Here's the deal, bro. It sounds like I'm a few years ahead of you and I have lived your life. I feel ya, went through a similar situation. I would like to tell you it gets better and she feels guilty for the rest of your marriage. You have sex every time you want and she gives BJs freely. But the truth is, she goes back to being the person she was in a few years. She may not cheat, but you are not happy. You stay together for the kids, but they know as they get older a marriage should not look like ours. I did it. It sucks. Kids are well balanced and successful and have no idea. Our marriage still sucks. And living with someone I've never felt more lonely. It is a choice. But it doesn't get better. The kids do turn out better. But your life will not be ideal or satisfying. Hard to say what to do here. It's important that she's actually sorry for it. Really have to get to the reason why this happened. You can still be happy after infidelity. Caught my husband talking on Snap to a girl he met on Tinder a couple of years back. We grew from it. The relationship does change, but you can learn trust again as trust is earned. We have all had our chances to cheat. Just makes you the better person if you don't. I just hope she knows she's a piece of shit for it. Sorry you're going through this. Go duck someone for revenge or get a divorce. Either get a divorce or go cheat on her twice and only let her find out on the second time. I hear ya. This doesn't need to be black and white. You do what you need to do, and if you take care of your kids while you are doing it, that's the whole game, man. You should try to get yours. Ask yourself what it is you really need in life and get that. You have to take care of number one or you're spiritually and unemotionally unavailable to everyone else. Thanks for this. No problem, bud. Been there. Wife cheated on me. Have friends but none I can talk to about this. Feel like a miserable loser. I have suffered from depression most of my teenage years and early 20s. Through my late 20s and 30s, anxiety took over more than the depression. I've been on various medications since my early 20s, and still on a daily. I got to therapy every 2 weeks and it's still not enough to not make feel like a piece of shit loser all the time right now. I found out my wife cheated on me early in our marriage and again recently. Ultimately we decided to try and work it out for various reasons. I'm on month 7 since finding out. I feel like a total piece of shit for staying. I can't shake how much of a loser I feel like and how depressed I am and how that depression now turns to anger. I can't tell my friends about this because I'm afraid of how they would view her since we all still hang out, how ducked up is that, and because frankly I'm just embarrassed. I haven't felt full-time depressed since my early 20s, thanks therapy and drugs, but I feel it coming back full-time. I had a great emotional support friend not connected to my main group of friends that was really helping me out by talking daily, but I've recently found out that person was just using me and has no use for me anymore and has moved on and we don't talk anymore. I don't think I'm asking for help, I know I'm doing all the things I'm supposed to be doing to help, I'm just so sad and angry all the time and I don't want to be around people, but I have to work with people daily for my job. How do you guys cope when you have no one but a professional to turn to and that's not enough? I'd go see my therapist daily right now if I could afford it. You can't cope with something like this just by talking, you have to also divorce your cheating wife. You'll just get unhappiness and lose your dignity if you stay with her. 7 months in feeling like this must be a torture, just allow yourself to be happy and leave this woman. There's a myriad of reasons why that's not viable, in my opinion, right now. Some financial, some family related. There are aspects of this I can cope with and I do believe she's remorseful and is trying to make things work. I might be wrong and get burnt, but I've fully accepted that as a risk and I'm comfortable dealing with it as an outcome if it does go that way. However, for the time being I'm going to try my hardest to make it work. My issue is just not having a judge-less peer to talk to that isn't a professional. I know it's something a lot of us go through. I just don't want to feel like I used to so consistently anymore. My advice here is the same that I'd give to any close friend in the same situation as you. I can hear your problems and let you vent, but the only one that can help you is you. Sorry if it sounds cliche, find a way to make it viable then. If you're pressured to stay because of shared children or mutual friends, then it's still not a good reason to do so. The amount of mental work you have to go through to make this marriage work is insane. You were the cheated one, your wife is the one that should be busting her ass to earn your trust again. You have friends but you don't want to talk to them about this because that would give them a bad image about your wife, and a fair one. A good friend would tell you something similar to what I said: do this and you'll stop feeling like a loser. Thanks for the well thought response. Honestly, your wife is a bitch. Cheaters are subhuman scum. Leave her at all costs, man. Ah man, I'm really sorry this is your current situation. Super shitty that she cheated. If you guys find a workaround, then good, but just tread carefully, man. TBH, I talk to my therapist once a week and that seems enough right now, but sometimes I wish I saw him more depending on the day. My GF is helpful, but she doesn't have the capacity sometimes to hear out my problems or simply isn't there for me. Wasn't married, but had been cheated on. Decided duck it, now that I don't have to worry about her expectations, might as well do all of the things she would have hated me for. Bought a motorcycle. Rode cross country. Jumped out of planes. Slept in a low-key heroin den. Drank moonshine with random mountain people. Snuck into concerts/sporting events. Crashed said motorcycle, and spent a few days fixing it somewhere in Texas while sleeping in a random field. Dated a stripper, who was actually a wonderful human. Basically 2 years straight of weird shit and police interactions. Got my life together a few years later. Before this, I was your regular corporate drone, working 8 to 5 in a suit and tie. I learned that if I treated life like a video game, and chased ridiculous side quests, I didn't have time to think about how miserable I was. Keep your mind and body busy. Go to sleep exhausted. The rest will fall into place. I'm sorry this happened to you. TBH, just leave your wife. Cheaters are scums, and TBH, it will make you better, trust me. If you can't confide in friends, then a professional is the only one left. You can always confide in us. Smile. Well, thank you. I just wish I had an Earl friend to talk to about this stuff, and they can talk to me about their stuff. I'm a great listener and can dispense fabulous advice. I thought I had one twice, and just like every other person in my life, they were just using me and I fell for it. It's infuriating, and I just want to sit in bed all day and do nothing, but then I'd be in the house with her who's pretending nothing is wrong because we're trying to move on. I'm trapped and sad, and it sucks. Thanks for listening. My condolences on the cheating. It sucks, and I get you on being embarrassed to tell your friends. Agree, that's a pretty ducked up situation. As is having a friend you once talked to daily that was just using you. Been there, and who wouldn't be sad and angry. Being betrayed, used, and neglected doesn't feel good, but hear me when I say this. It's not about you, it's about them. People can suck. If you know in your heart you did your best, and that you're a good person, that's all that matters. I have one dear and trusted friend and a weekly counselor, and I hear you on how hard it is to cope. When I'm really struggling, I have to fight my tendency to withdraw from the world. I also default to and deflect with humor as a way to avoid feeling deeper emotions, but that's a different kind of grief avoidance. Just know you're not alone, okay? Less than 3. Oh, do I ever turn to humor to deflect? Most people think I'm hilarious and in a good mood. Thank you for your response. Humor definitely beats the alternative, winking face. You're in a tough situation, and there are no easy solutions. For me, the key is to work on positive self-talk. Hint, remove loser from your mental vocabulary. Let me share a quote that got me through some truly difficult years caretaking my late husband. If the problem can be solved, why worry? If the problem cannot be solved, worrying will do you no good. Shanti Deva. Sometimes, you just have to simplify things down to what you do and do not have control over. Heart. This is me to a T. You are not a loser. She is. Cheating is never warranted. Especially twice. Whatever remorse you see will wear off or isn't real. She is a repeat offender, and it's just a matter of time before it happens again. It can be hard to even discover that they are cheating. It may have even been more than twice, but you aren't aware. I guess the worst part about cheaters to me is they are selfish and can put your health on the line with STDs. I've been in a really bad marriage for 13 years. I've never cheated on him. But I also understand what it's like choosing to stay in a relationship for various reasons. I have had to ask myself which of the lesser two evils I was willing to accept. If you're experiencing anger, That's from resentment. Eventually you may not have a choice anymore because you pushed yourself too far. I'm starting to see this in myself. I have gotten to the point I'm having suicidal thoughts almost daily for a year. The reasons I have to stay are very good ones, but I don't think I'll make it. Good luck on your journey. I am so sorry you're dealing with this. If the choices are staying and suicide or leaving, please leave. No one and no situation is worth your life. Thank you for the empathy. I am able to rationalize this about suicide myself, so I won't do it, but the thoughts don't stop. I guess what I mean to say is I tried so hard to put aside my feelings that it basically broke me. I don't know if I can leave or stay at this point. Leaving in my situation is extremely difficult, and a bad decision as well. I don't know if I can manage either choice now. I should have left before things got this bad and I had more mental strength to cope. You've got exactly one life to live. No do-overs. Don't live in misery. Do what you need to do to put yourself in a position where you can be happy and satisfied. You might not achieve those goals, especially not right away, but it sounds like in your current position those things cannot possibly happen. I have never once ever read a story of someone leaving a bad situation and say they regretted it afterwards. This has actually happened to me after my divorce years ago. I really wish I had waited till I was more prepared to leave. I don't regret leaving, but it definitely should have waited. Guess that's my mistake now. Tried to take that lesson with this relationship and I'm screwed either way. I want to leave and won't regret it if what's going to happen afterwards is better. Unfortunately, the world is pretty ducked up and you can't predict the future. I'm trying to choose the lesser of two evils and will never know if I made the right decision. I wish I was smart enough to figure out a solution that wouldn't be so detrimental. What, specifically, is the upside of staying? Just another update, you guys were right. Post update. You can check my post history to see when I first reached out to this sub and others. Won't rehash it too much, but the guy who I caught her sexting with over last summer has blossomed into a full-blown physical affair this year. Every single response I got here told me to leave and that she would do it again. I thought my situation was somehow different. We went to therapy. We talked all the time about our feelings. Our communication got better. We bought a giant house together and decorated it. Meanwhile, the last 3 months she's been ducking this guy who was a close personal friend of mine and her best friend's husband. I'd say I'm in disbelief, but I'm not. Honestly, I'm just relieved in a way because now I can leave knowing I tried my level best and she didn't give a shit. Random dick and constant male attention from someone who isn't me is more important to her. 2 things. Please, everyone that is reading this, know this will happen to you. Scroll through this sub, it's littered with stories like this. Second, my wife told her best friend, the AP's wife, what happened. Everything blew up, but at the end of the day the AP is lying about everything. She doesn't believe him, but she's still trying to make it work. She is also a good friend of mine and I'm trying to help her not make the same mistake I did. Any tips? I'm just going to explain how he is lying about everything and is lying to her face non-stop right now about his feelings so he won't lose his kids and her money. I know it shouldn't matter to me, but it does. She's a good person and doesn't deserve this. Anyways, thanks everyone for wishing I listened in the first place. Here's to the next chapter of my life. Wish I wasn't so damn old starting over. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night. Wherever you are.